All right, it's Christmas morning. Let's go see what Santa brought me.
Santa.
Merry Christmas, big boy.
Okay, let's go see what Santa brought me.
Oh, Christmas, big boy.
It's okay. You're having a bad dream. You're having a bad dream. It's Christmas morning. It's good.
Birthday card on. Welcome to Barbell Shrugged. I'm Mike Bledsoe here with Doug Larson and Chris Moore with our guest, Christmas Abbott.
What up?
This is the show you've all been waiting for. Merry Christmas.
Indeed. Happy holidays.
If you're not listening to this on Christmas, this posted on Christmas. Look at the date that it posted.
You can tell by the tree in the background.
That's right.
There are subtle hints in the background at what the holiday
And by the
season is.
intro, I suppose, at this point.
That's right. Make sure you head over to barbellshrug.com, sign up for the newsletter, and we will, in return, send you the top 8 snatch mistakes that are probably keeping you from hitting that big PR that's going to send you to the World Championships.
You might be overselling.
We can just lie and say
Am
we're
I
sending sexy
overselling
videos at
that?
Christmas.
That might be an overpromise,
Dial it back a
underdeliver.
little bit.
Yeah.
They'll get much better.
It's only overpromise if they have to test it or something.
I don't think anyone's going to believe me anyway.
If you sell it to them and they sign up for it and they're like, this doesn't work, you'd be like, well, you're doing it wrong.
I will say this. I have gotten many reports that say that once they viewed that video and they made a few changes, that they hit PRs. So
well, then there's your data. There's your proof.
It works. That's all I need is a few people to give me
In
that
case you didn't believe me,
positive confirmation.
I've gotten so many emails proving it. So
I got at least 3 out of the 30,000 people that sign up.
It's a good percentage.
Yeah.
Since he forgot what we're doing, why don't you go ahead and tell everyone that doesn't know you a little bit about yourself and kind of how you got into CrossFit?
yes, please.
Real name is Christmas Abbott, Christmas Joy Abbott. On my birth certificate was not changed
You get that
after
question all the
my
time.
birth. I actually, while I was teaching a level 1 seminar, the guy in my squat circle asked me if that was my stage name.
Oh.
No, and we're gonna see how you squat today, buddy.
How'd you respond?
That's what I told him.
Oh, okay.
I said no, and let's go ahead and check out your air squat. So that I incorporated that into my intro whenever I do seminars now. I'm like, hey, my name is Christmas Abbott. It's not a stage name, and don't make fun because I can torture you.
No, you say that every level 1 cert now?
I let them know it's not a stage name. Yeah, it's
There you
kind
go.
of a fun intro. I let them know that I'm very tactile and very hands-on and a little bossy,
Yeah.
and that way they're not surprised when I'm like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
And they look at me like I'm the devil.
You don't seem like you would have got too upset about that. You seem like pretty happy-go-lucky, like you would have like laughed it off with a smile and like not gotten super pissed about it.
I did laugh it off, but I think
Yeah.
that he was actually serious.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it depends on how he says it, I guess.
going on?
You,
For sure.
you could tell if he was like being like derogatory or if
Can I
he was
ask-
like
Yeah.
just kind of joking around.
So what's more common to you? People going, "Hey, is that your real name?" Or the fumbling mumble mouth, "Hey, it was good level 1, and I just want a coffee, dinner, food." Are you asking me out? I just I enjoyed the instruction today.
I question on my real name, to be honest.
Oh, yeah?
I don't get hit on often. Hardly ever.
It's probably intimidating.
Is it the intimidation thing?
I
Is
was
that
in
a
your
rule?
I was in your class yesterday, and you were as far as you know.
You were trying to hit on her?
It's actually been a while. Yeah. It's actually been a while since I've been in a CrossFit class before.
Yeah.
But I felt like you were being pretty aggressive with the crowd, with the class, and I appreciated it. It was good.
And Mike's like, should I hold the bar right here, or maybe move my hands out some?
Well, this is the way that I approach teaching my classes, is that I have a lot of things to do, and I love coaching, and I am aggressive with my coaching. It's just a different flip side of me. It's the same time as when I go into a workout or a competition, I turn into a little monster, and that's how I approach with my coaching. I'm a bit more aggressive than a lot of my other coaches, but a smile goes a long way. So if you're like, you're holding the bar wrong, then they're like, okay.
I'm gonna try that next time.
Fluffy coaches don't get far.
Will it work for me? If I smile with a smile, can I charm my athletes? You think?
I think you may need to woo them a little bit more than I
and maybe combing your beard would help.
Get the squirrels out.
Get the squirrels out of your beard.
It looks trimmed.
I did have it.
Did you manscape?
I had it. Whoa.
I think it's gotten better. It has gotten better.
I did have my stylist do my beard before we came. Yeah.
A little combing, a little trimming.
You also got called out for the faux hawk earlier today.
Yeah, I normally just swoop it over. I think I just made a mistake in the mirror this morning. That's all right. I don't care.
Every word you chose is awkward.
Hair is for fun, I think. I mean, you should have fun with your hair if it's on your face or on your head or, whatever.
Wherever happens to be.
Now that I'm looking at you, especially with the headphones on, the baby from The Incredibles, the one with the little blonde curl on the top of his head,
the really good looking one.
The little infant baby, that can crawl really fast or something.
Oh yeah,
and it has this one golden lock curl right there in the middle, and you kind of look like that baby with the beard.
That's all right. Yeah,
you like that?
I look like a baby with a beard.
I'll take it. Yeah.
Just like that baby, but you have no distinguishable talents or skills.
But you have even more similarities, because I heard you crying last night. And
you did hear me crying.
What'd you do to him?
You want to explain to the audience what you did there?
What was it that was happening to me? You could explain it better than I can.
One of my masseuses, she scrapes, so it's kind of like Ralphing.
Does she scrape?
Ralphing. So she has this little tool that looks like a stone, a flat stone with a circle in it.
Kind of like Graston?
Yeah, that's what it is. And she went and scraped him, and he cried.
Ralphing is different.
It's called...
Yeah. It's Rolfing, actually. But yeah. Ralphing is different, too. Rolfing is what she's talking about.
I thought that meant something else.
Well, she called it something else. What she was doing is like the ancient Chinese version of Graston, and it's called like guwashu.
I call it scraping.
Okay, yeah. Well, it does feel like she's scraping you, and I went to my pain cave for sure. The shoulder wasn't bad, so I've got a messed up shoulder and a hamstring. Shoulder wasn't bad. Hamstring was a little bit worse, but then she went to the adductor, the inner thigh, which is still very, very sensitive right now.
Right in this
and
area,
it's black
right
and blue.
here.
Right here. So if you follow our Instagram, you probably saw me in nothing but my underwear and being tortured.
And I pointed and laughed.
I wonder how many followers that's getting right now.
There is a video of Christmas standing right in front of me while I'm in my underwear and pointing and laughing at my crotch, which was very demoralizing for me. I was like, this is not how I envisioned this whole thing going down.
Is that the real reason you were crying?
Yeah, it wasn't from the... She can't stop laughing.
Somehow I didn't think this would be what success is like.
We traveled all this way to see Christmas, and she just points and laughs.
I can't help it. There is a little bit of satisfaction that I find when people are slightly tortured, and maybe that's why I like coaching so much.
I think most CrossFit coaches, that is the case, for sure.
If you deny it, then you're just lying.
Well, there is a very distinct, let's get real, masochistic sort of, fetish quality to CrossFit. These WODs are tough, they're torturous, and people can't get enough of it.
Yeah,
like they want more of it, and the more pain they experience, the more neon tights they put on. There's a correlation. I don't know the data behind it, but it seems real.
I have a lot of neon.
Like, oh yeah, give it to me water, harder and water and wider and deeper. My domains must go.
Water.
And you're just getting like basically the equivalent of being slapped on the back as you wear your Lululemon tights. It's a weird scene sometimes. That's what I'm saying.
All right, so we asked you about how you got to CrossFit. And all the further we got was about your stripper name. So go ahead and tell us about.
I don't have a stripper deadlift anymore. Growing up, I did 2 years of athletics in middle school, so I don't apply that credit to athletics. So
athletics, as in what?
As in like high school or collegiate.
You played a sport? Or ran track
I
or something?
cheerleaded for 2 years and I played baseball for 2 years in middle school. And then
You played baseball or softball?
baseball
Nice.
with the boys.
I like that.
I got hit a lot. I did. I'd always go at the bat, and the boys would hit me when they were pitching to me.
Wow.
So I either walked on base. I actually was.
I guess middle school is like that age where like you hit girls when you like them, right?
Well, they hit you because you had
Maybe
cooties.
they couldn't look past her to the catcher.
Is it a cootie? Is a cootie thing still at that stage? Like, oh, look how gross
I don't
Christmas
think
is.
so. I think that you outgrow cooties after
And then 10 years
grade.
later, you go, what were we talking about in middle school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you didn't have
Thanks
like
for
a
hitting me
super
then,
athletic-
guys.
So you didn't have like a super athletic background then.
I didn't. So after when I was about 12 or 13, I started kind of wandering into the other side, and I really started to just kind of start smoking, drinking, and you know, people were like, "You started drinking at 13?" Well, yeah, because it's kind of like the creepy uncle story.
Like you had your first drink at 13, or you like started drinking?
No, I
at
started
13?
partying.
Chris
Yeah,
is-
I started
Chris is
partying.
creepy uncle story.
And smoke?
Not your creepy uncle story.
Not my creepy uncle. I don't have a creepy uncle.
I remember the first 2 times I got drunk. The first time was involved at least a 6-pack of Zima purchased by somebody's creepy uncle. I'm not proud of it. It's just, hey,
That's what happens.
at the time, Christmas, okay, that seemed like a really cool thing. You know? Oh, wow. I always heard this stuff is pretty fun, and now I get to drink it. And I got started early. It's deviant.
You just sit in the back of his pickup truck at the lake in the dark.
Going, you know, life is hard sometimes, young Chris. And sometimes you just need a drink. Here, have a cold one. Like, thanks.
Sometimes
Mysterious.
Zimas are the answer.
Sometimes Zimas are the answer.
But so you started smoking too at 13?
Yes, regularly.
Like smoking, like chain smoking early?
Yeah, I started experimenting with cigarettes when I was around 9.
Wow.
Wow, intense.
So I started
How'd
smoking
you get started
regularly
that
when I was. You know, my family. I love my parents. They did a really great job with me, instilling that work ethic. But they were both smokers. We, as
just
little
always around
kids
it.
and growing up, we kind of grew up in that biker lifestyle.
Yeah.
And you know, my dad was a biker. My mom was kind of like the biker hippie. And you know, there was a, you know, we're kind of hard times.
Yeah.
And you are a product of your environment a little bit. And
So you weren't athletic growing up. You started smoking and drinking when you were like, what, 9 to 13, something like that?
Yeah, 13. I really
And
started doing it
when did you start
regularly.
CrossFit then?
I started CrossFit when I was, I think, 24.
And so when you started CrossFit,
A decade later.
Was it a disaster at first?
It
Like
was
smoking for 10 years?
It was. So the series of events is I accepted a job overseas with my mother. Like, she told me about this job, and I was like, harassed this company until they hired me.
Yeah.
Went over as a laundry attendant. So I was basically taking people's dirty laundry and giving them their clean laundry. Just to
exotic career opportunity.
You know, I have to say that no matter where I am in life, I'm going to be able to figure out how to make it.
Yeah.
Was overseas and just realized that I had a very unhealthy lifestyle, and that was an opportunity for me to make better decisions for myself.
Yeah.
I had no intention on being a health freak or even healthy. I just wanted better things for myself. So I quit smoking, raging bee for a couple weeks. Like, I warned everybody, and I ate candy the whole time.
Yeah.
A year later, I started working out, and then shortly after that, I discovered CrossFit because a guy in the gym showed me this video of these 3 girls doing the infamous Nasty Girls video,
Right.
and I was like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
I want to be a nasty girl too.
It was so fascinating because these girls were my size: Nicole Carroll, Annie Sakamoto, Annie T. People, do your CrossFit homework. Understand your CrossFit history. If you're going to come into the game and not understand who the original CrossFit girls are, then you need to go and research it right now. And the founder and people, sometimes I'm just kind of blown away.
Yeah.
So I saw this and I was like, they're my size and they're doing amazing things. And that was when I started kind of doing my own CrossFit style, and because I couldn't get on the internet very often.
2004, you said?
2000.
Since he was 24.
I was 24. I got to do the math.
So,
I'm a real meathead sometimes.
we're in a roundabout way trying to figure out how old she actually is. So your birthday is tomorrow.
My birthday's tomorrow.
How old are you going to be?
I'll be 32 years strong.
Oh, shit.
Oh, like
Congrats.
I have to say it like that from now on.
Yeah.
You're strong. Wait, so is the realization to get healthy like a gradual thing while you're over there? You're just like, man, like I'm going down the wrong path, or did you just like sit up in bed one day and you were just like, shit, something's wrong. I gotta make a change.
Cumulative, or like all of a sudden like, gasp.
No, it wasn't even get healthy. It was just making better decisions for my life when I was in Iraq. Because you sit there and you're in enclosed camp with people. So you only thing to do is work, sleep, drink or work out.
Yeah.
And, eventually one of those drinking got taken away. So you're like, well, what else do I do?
Yeah.
You go to the gym.
Yeah.
And it's not like real life in America or anywhere else in the world where you have options to go do other things. You just work and sleep. And so I decided to fill some time.
You're in the middle of a war zone at the time?
Yeah, I was not in the service. I was a civilian contractor, but I went over to Iraq in January 2004. That's when it was still pretty heavy. And we were just getting settled in with the rebuild Operation Iraqi Freedom. And that was when we were sleeping in tents and mortars were still coming in, and depending on the sound, there's certain sounds that you heard, so you knew whether how close it was and whether it was a mortar, rocket, or car bomb. We even had a drive-by shooting one time.
Don't worry, it's a distant mortar.
She was laughing about it.
Well, she's
it makes
here
coming
now.
back home
Don't worry about
so much better.
You can always laugh about it afterwards.
Yeah. So obviously, what's interesting to me is that you had this very. You're born and you're going through life and you have these parents and these things you assume you should do, and all of a sudden things start accelerating. I guess that had to be a really formative experience, being in that environment, which had to be like scary as shit, of course, initially, and then radically changed you into something else. Like, wow, you're so close to this outcome, this danger. I'm going to do something awesome while I'm still kicking. Was that sort of what came over you?
It was more, pretty much. You're in this environment that's so extreme, and I had more of I just had such a wake-up call when I went over there, and I was like, holy crap, I was such a spoiled brat, in the sense that I didn't appreciate a lot before I went over.
Unaware, maybe not spoiled.
Yeah,
just unaware.
Definitely unaware. And so when I went over there, I was like, holy crap, I really did have it good in the United States, even though I didn't have any money, didn't have an education, and was like, just barely getting by and causing a lot of trouble and whatever I could get into. But still, I had the opportunity to make those decisions. And instead of being a liability over there, I wanted to be a contribution. And from there, I just it wasn't like, I'm going to get healthy, I'm going to change my life. It was more of, okay, I need to stop smoking so I'm no longer a hazard for everybody else in case something goes down. I can run and get myself out of this situation versus have to be carried or left.
Right.
Because they would leave you.
Nice people you were hanging with over there.
So you were in Iraq for, was it 4 years?
Just about 4 years.
Doing your time, man.
Doing my time.
So when you started CrossFit, though, it was still relatively early in the evolution of CrossFit. Like, you watched the Nascar girls video, but you probably couldn't just walk down the street, especially in Iraq, and just find a CrossFit gym. Like, how did you get started then?
It was non-existent.
Yeah.
I was the annoying person in the middle of the air-based gym doing CrossFit, or at least my version of it, because until I found a couple guys that also did CrossFit.
Right.
And then when I came home, that was when it was the Fight Club of fitness. And there was one at best CrossFit in major cities. Major cities. So when you come home, you drove 30-40 minutes to go to a CrossFit gym. Right.
And there wasn't probably
no classes.
The best box. It was probably like, because the one we started out in was, man, no code enforcer in the world would allow that to continue for one more second.
Has that building fallen down yet?
Probably not. I mean,
our building,
the back wall leans like that.
It was a shed, right?
Yeah.
Our first box was pretty terrible.
With a concrete wall structure sort of just shoved onto the side of it to make one room. Like,
did you guys have porta potties?
No.
I went to one time with porta potties.
Nice.
No, our bathroom was not impressive, but it was better than porta potties.
Yeah, it didn't matter how clean that bathroom was; it looked dirty.
Yeah.
People were like, "You need to clean your bathroom." I was like, I did an hour ago.
Some things just can't be cleaned. Okay, some things can't wash away. Some hurts run too deep.
Can't polish a turd,
as I say. And you can't put lipstick on a pig.
No.
Well, you can, but unless they
still a fucking pig.
I miss those boxes, to be honest. Like my facility Invoke, we try and I have a little bit of old school mixed in with a lot of new school, and it's because people are expecting, they expect more and more out of CrossFit facilities, which is great. But at the same time, man,
it's expensive.
I didn't even know that they had a woman's bar until 4 years ago. And I was like, a woman's bar? Why do I want to use a woman's bar? What do I look like, a weakling to you? And they were like, no, Christmas, it's smaller for your hands. And I was like, I don't get it. So even after I discovered a woman's bar, I still used a guy's bar for all of my Ollie's.
Do you train at all with a men's bar now?
I do.
When you go to a women's bar to meet or something, like at the American Open, do you find it helps you? Does it feel like a toy in your hands?
It does, but I get mad that they're not 45 pounds. Like I don't like to have to
Why
add
is this
that
shit
extra
not heavier?
weight.
Why is this shit so light?
You haven't acclimated to 35-pound bars yet. It's only been 4 years. Don't worry about it.
And then I have to recalculate all my weights instead of just throwing 25s on it being
Why not
95.
just,
It's 85. I'm
you
like,
tell
I don't
your-
want to lift 85.
Well, tell your coach like treat everything like I'm normally training. Let me go out there and think that's it. It's it's a little heavier than it is, and
There you
just
go.
crush the weights anyway.
Yeah.
You know?
I like training with a guy's bar because it helps my grip, especially with deadlifts and stuff. It helps grip strength, and I think that it's just another variable point. Fat bars are awesome, and then suddenly when they program it into a competition, people are like, "Oh my gosh, the strength!"
I have found that like the fat bar effect you just described, like you go to a regular bar and it feels like a toy. And you feel stronger, and your grips and your elbows recover a little bit too, because you're not always squeezing all the time.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like when you add bands to bike. There's nothing special about it other than it's different enough to make it a little tougher and a little funner, and that's what makes it good.
I love it.
It's like a spice. You sprinkle it around.
You train bands much?
Do I train with bands much?
With bands, yeah.
They make me dance. No.
I was like, oh, maybe she didn't understand the question, but I don't care.
Bands are cool.
So I like where she's going with
She's
this.
like, what are bands?
I don't train with bands much. If I program for myself, I overtrain. So I've been getting on my coach a little bit more to make sure that I stay in line.
Wait, who's programming for you right now?
I have Jason Davidson, Doc. He went with me to the American Open recently, and I've been training with him for the last 4 years, basically since I moved to Raleigh. Yeah,
and how did that go, the American Open? I didn't see how you placed or
I think overall
how your lifts were.
My weight class, 53 kilo, I placed 17th, and that was coming off basically 3 months of no training. And
that's right. You had a back injury, is that right?
Gnarly back injury. There was multiple back injuries. I did a competition, and then I just worked through it because I was like really in my groove for a while, and just doing clean pulls at 245 for fives, and I was just like, crushing it.
Accumulate a little too much.
And then did a competition, kind of allowed my form to falter a little bit, which happens in competition. And then just didn't play smart on recovery, and I kept pushing myself, and then I did a Spartan race and wasn't able to finish it because my back was just like, you've had enough, and we're gonna shut you down, Christmas.
I did one of those once.
A Spartan race?
No, I watched it. I watched it
from a distance.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
You watched them leap through the fire.
No? Okay.
Damn, shut down by CTP. Mike was like, let's take a break, and CTP was like, no.
No, he was telling me.
Keep going.
He was telling me we needed a break, and now he's saying we don't. So,
okay,
all right, I guess we're taking a break.
Don't judge my refrigerator, but this is like my line. This is my
refrigerator. My wife does the same thing. She calls it
What's your wine?
What's it called? Mocktails.
It was a little traumatic for him last night.
Oh, yeah?
Did you see the...
Stop talking for a second.
This is the real deal.
I thought your abductors were okay. No?
No, you're not.
Speaking in tongues
So
in a minute.
is it your soul's coming out of your mouth?
I got tortured. I got tortured.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Chris, will you hold my hand?
No.
Tomorrow would be
Go
so.
back to the gym all today?
I'm gonna stop by and drop off Fran,
Yeah.
and otherwise, yeah. Nicest Fran you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
That's how you phrase your reference to Fran. I'm gonna go drop off Fran. Yeah. Teach Fran a fucking lesson.
You're not helping at all, Christmas.
She's laughing. She's laughing at my leg, not anything else.
I can't do gin.
No.
No,
It's like all we drink anymore.
man, it's too sweet.
Oh, really?
It's too sweet.
Whoa.
Your back's still all scarred up?
Yeah.
She came in today and worked on me for a little bit because I
And
felt
my
a
hair
little.
tie. That was the best part. Yeah, I ended up in my underwear and people were watching and laughing at me, pointing at my crotch.
laughing.
I'm like, okay. Not knowing how creepy that was. Only knowing that alcohol seemed like the cool thing to do if you wanted to be a cool kid.
I drink nothing but scotch and IPAs in New York, and that wrecked me.
Yeah, the IPA.
I didn't even drink that much.
I like
didn't feel good the next day.
I like the way they taste.
I love
but
IPAs. It's like all, as far as beer goes, it's all I drink anymore. Yeah. I need
I
something to
look at the
taste.
percentages. I'm like, don't give me that shitty little percentage, that 5%, 7%. I need double digits.
Yeah, dude.
I want one drink to make it count.
We're at a bar.
I'm with you.
We're at a beer bar.
You guys remember it was like 3 years ago, there was this big trend of everybody bonging Zimas. Like you get Z-Mud or something like that. We're in the bar.
Oh, getting iced?
Ice.
Get iced. Is that what it is?
Ice.
What is it?
Getting iced?
What is that?
He's in his 30s. And
You basically just hide. You hide. I mean, what's it called?
What do you do? What is this?
Smirnoff Ice. You hide your Smirnoff Ice like a Zima in some random location. Like if you were like just got into your weightlifting bag and there was a Smirnoff Ice in there, then you have to take a knee and chug the whole thing right there. Yeah. Do you not do that?
No.
But just like she did, like Merry Christmas, big boy.
Yeah,
Go
do
over the top of that
do the same thing, yeah.
All right.
Have you been on any big,
Beach for the Daytona 500 last year, my debut in NASCAR.
What does it say?
So don't fuck it up.
Okay, I won't. America the Beautiful.
Fucking end you.
A Waffle House,
2012.
which I find really, I mean, in terms of, you know, keystone elements of American culture, it's truck stops, Waffle Houses. Like if you need breakfast and you're on the road, I love it. I love Waffle House.
He used to drag me to these Waffle Houses at powerlifting meets, and
people say,
and I would only go there because it was his meat.
Was it you that told me?
But at one point I was like, I will never go to Waffle House again.
That's what she said, by the way.
I love Waffle House.
Was it you that told me you hated the service there?
No, I just don't trust the people.
Somebody told me, like,
food.
I don't trust the service. I'm like, that's the endearing thing about this. They don't give a shit about you. They don't give a shit about you or that you're here.
They're just looking for their next crack rock.
It's
like, that's the feeling I get when I hit
I can't post this on the internet.
That's not that. Why am I letting you guys talk me into taking my shirt off? One of the most attractive people in the CrossFit community.
Because I just blew a kiss to the
Can I just
camera.
Yeah. I keep up a lot too. You're the only one making sacrifices.
Because I asked nicely.
Was it so hard to blow me a kiss? You make it sound like it was torture.
It was hard to keep a straight face.
Oh.
And like,
Hey, she laughed at your wiener. Shut up.
you go to Waffle House knowing that you're gonna get your foods thrown on a plate. I love listening to them. They're like, "Smothered Dyson, over easy," and then they're yelling. You don't even know what they're saying. You're like, "Did she mess up my order?" But no, it comes out perfect every time.
Code.
You know what to expect. There's no deviation in what you get.
That's true. That's true.
What's this suspicious thing in your hand right now?
It's like, you just have low expectations.
It's a Christmas cookie.
Oh, okay.
One of those wedding cookie things, right?
I've never been married.
It's a delicious cookie.
Just throwing it out there.
Alright, hang on. Go back. I want to.
We're talking about crack rocks at Waffle House earlier.
It kind of is crack rock. It's the CrossFit crack rock.
Oh, there you go.
That must be a gluten.
That would have been perfect.
That's some bullshit paleo cookie.
As long as you don't put gluten in your bread.
Yeah.
Falls apart.
Well, that was delicious.
Fuck you guys.
You're around my cord, bro. All right, we're back. And of course, you're watching Barbell Shrugged or listening. We're with Doug and Chris.
Or both. Listening and watching.
Yes, and we are hanging out at Christmas Abbott's apartment. We won't tell you where she lives, so that she doesn't get all the stalkers.
Raleigh, North Carolina.
She's like, I want
she's like,
stalkers. I love stalkers.
They have to go through a lot of
Attention.
security. That's about it.
If you get a stalker, you just out crazy them, right? Is that the strategy? Like, hey man, what's your email? You just get up in their face and hey, baby, I've just got off a tough relationship and I'm not really ready for this amount of attention right now.
I think that might backfire.
Yeah, pretty sure it backfired.
Yeah, it's a risky play.
That's right. Especially after the show, everyone would be like, stalk her.
It's only something to do when you're really bored and tired of telling them to fuck off.
I was at McGolder when we went to Africa. All the African guys would just follow us around, like hoping we give them money, and they would just sit there and ask you questions. And McGolder would just fire back. He'd just be asking questions. What's your favorite color? Where do you live? What size shoes do you have? And they would be like, oh, I gotta go see you. And they would just leave them alone.
Do you have a pet lion?
That's pretty accurate to where, like, if a woman's in a bar or a gym, that's kind of how we are. Like, the guys will follow you around. If you start actually asking questions and engaging, then they get intimidated and run away.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We're cowards.
Don't do that, guys.
Listen, gentlemen, what I understand of women, which is very little, but I do think I've heard 5 times at least that confidence seems to be very important. You gotta have confidence, right? I mean, you know, you gotta. If Christmas comes to your bar and says, "Hey, what's up? You gonna buy me a drink or what?" And if your tongue falls out and you go, "I drink, yes, for you, money here," that shit ain't gonna work out, man. Little girls don't sit at home dreaming of being swept off their feet by you.
How'd you get started in this NASCAR thing? You're the first female pit crew for NASCAR. Is that correct?
It's a little bit like there was boob sweat. That was weird.
All right.
Or boob sweat.
Awkward sounds.
If you don't want to talk about NASCAR, we don't have to. It's okay.
Full-time pit crew. I was with Michael Waltrip Racing, and one of the CrossFitters that Diego had called me up because he was coming up to Charlotte to do some promotional stuff and potentially sponsor a race. And we did a pit crew challenge. I excelled in hitting lug nuts.
What does that mean? Like getting the gun onto the thing?
Yeah.
And speed?
Yeah. It's so funny because you hit lug nuts, you jack the car, and then you throw on a tire. And, you know, when you first start CrossFit, you're like, snatch.
Snatch, yeah.
Jerk.
We all go,
and it's,
Jesus, people. Can we focus on the lecture now?
We get so annoyed, but at the same time, when I was coming into NASCAR and pit crewing, specifically when I was going into pit crewing, it just, like, every time I would go to practice, they were like, okay, Christmas, I need you to really focus and hit those nuts really, really hard. And I just go.
So I can't take you seriously. Can we call them something else?
So, and then I'd have to go into my little animal mode to be able to actually focus and not laugh.
Animal mode.
Yeah, let's back up. You almost skipped right over that.
Animal mode. What's
animal
that?
mode?
Animal mode, like your monster mode.
Just like monster mode. Like gorilla mode.
Yeah.
So
all that stuff.
Tiger mode.
What's your animal?
It's like the Hulk mode.
What's your animal?
You're getting closer.
I don't really have an animal.
Have you not ventured into a deep, imbibed state and discovered your spirit
My
animal?
power animal is a squirrel.
That's what you found?
Squirrel.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow.
So how'd you figure that one out?
Yeah, what's the distinction?
I guess from when I was a little kid, I just saw a whole bunch of different types of squirrels. Like they would always kind of come to me, and now that I'm as an adult, I realize that they'd go to anybody. But for me specifically,
kindred spirits.
I saw whenever I would travel, I would see that area's squirrel. Like so, I saw an albino squirrel when I was in DC in 4th grade.
It scared the shit out of you.
I saw an all black squirrel like around the same year. I don't know, and then plus I like their mannerisms.
That is a strange animal to be into.
They're a little crazy. They kind of harvest things. You know, they hoard things.
They're the cute bushy like red squirrels.
Yeah,
in like Europe and I guess
this
the
one's
north.
a red.
So you have an affinity for squirrels.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, I liked cheetahs.
Are we going?
Yeah, we're recording.
Okay, go.
Jeez, Doug. Fucking amateur over here. He goes to Australia. He goes to Australia for 3 weeks and he forgets everything.
What is this?
That's a Macintosh. Can you say Apple?
So what's curious, I was thinking about this on the flight over, thinking about what deep questions I would ask or what issues I would have faced in my own life, you see. There's 2 distinct things. One, I can't remember the last time I changed a tire, even like on a Volvo. And 2, I've never fired a gun at all, much less a machine gun.
Oh.
So I feel even though I'm 5.7 times your body weight, I'm somehow half the man you are. That's my struggle right now.
She said that like, oh, that's weird for a male.
Yeah, I haven't ever. I made that joke this month. The last time I shot a gun, I had to pump it 13 times beforehand.
And you were probably trying to shoot squirrels.
I shot a mockingbird and it broke my fucking heart.
Oh, no.
That's a told a story on the show.
I think you did.
I think you have.
I was like, you know what?
It's a good story.
I shot the bird in the head because it was pestering our cats and stuff. I was like, I got to get this bird out of the way. And I shot it, and as the pellet leaves the minute, undersized barrel that was my pellet gun, it travels out, hits the bird, it falls. I go, oh, fuck! The fact that I just took life hit me hardcore. Like I was like 10 years old, 13 maybe.
You didn't think about your consequences of your actions.
And I go out. Here's the tough part. I go out and look at it, like one wing flapping desperately. Like you can hold on, you can live. I have all this motion flooding over me, and it gets up and flies over the house, like with one limb. I haven't fired a gun since. of any kind. It was a bummer.
So we know you're not a hunter.
I'm not. I got to hang out with some real men and get that skill, because if the zombie apocalypse happens, I will die quickly. I'll be the first to go.
When you're rich to show
So
you how to bone.
Doug and I aren't real men. He hangs out with us, I guess. Was that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Eventually he's going to find some real men.
You guys
I'm
seem
not a
like
hunter,
fun.
We
actually.
had different childhoods. I remember being cut loose in the woods with a shotgun and being like, on my birthday, and I just went out and shot everything that moved.
Happy birthday.
Everything. Here's 100 rounds of 20 gauge shotgun.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah, our childhoods differed significantly. Most of my time playing Super Nintendo.
I liked to wear my Easter dress for as long as I possibly could. I loved my Easter dress. It was the only time I got a new dress every year. And I would go and build forts and play with my neighbors, and my sister and I, we moved around in the dress. Wow. So this is not too different from where I am now. And she would we moved her a lot growing up, and we lived in like a farmhouse for a while, and I remember we would just go and play in the cow pasture in the woods and wear my dress for as long as possible. But then we also grew up around guns. Like my family had some guns, and then we would go to my uncle's house and shoot. But I never went hunting. Like I don't have an interest in hunting, but I like the fact that my family hunts and we harvest the meat. But otherwise, I just like to shoot guns just in case somebody comes in my house.
If we ever get in a apocalyptic scenario, Bledsoe, well, I'll contribute the skills I have. So you and Doug forage for food, kill the animals. I will contribute dick jokes and distracting commentary to your efforts.
Wait. If you have dick jokes, you have to do dick tricks.
Let's see.
It's a whole different skill.
Is that too far?
You got the helicopter down?
He just got uncomfortable. He's like, I don't know about
I
that.
have to Google that and see if I'm capable of executing the maneuvers, I guess. If I have the inventory.
A little practice should be fine.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's what has to happen.
Did you just say something about the inventory?
Yeah, I got to make sure I have the appropriate inventory for that job. Well, it depends what you're talking about. I can only imagine. I did play football with a guy. No, I'm not going anywhere gay. Listen to this.
I should have seen this dick trick.
I played a football with a guy. His name was Rocco. He was just a long snapper. He was a good athlete and all, but he wasn't there.
Did you just call him a long snapper?
He was a long snapper, which is a position in football.
Oh, okay.
Football. Snapped the ball to the punter.
My sport knowledge just shined right here.
He would get up. His thing was he did like stand-up comedy too. He would get up at a team meeting. So imagine like just a room full of 18-year-old knuckleheads, beasts basically in football.
I feel
staff
like I
and
worked
everything.
with them overseas.
He would go like the fucking head
same
coach.
people.
The head coach would get up and be like, "Okay, good meeting. Now we have first." He'd go like, "Rocco said he wanted to talk to you guys before the meeting adjourned." And he's like, "Okay, yeah, we're all, whatever." Maybe he's like a pep talk. Like, "Come on, guys, let's band together. Win one for the Gippert type shit." But no, he gets up and he proceeds to go, "Gentlemen, this one's called the Rottweiler." And he pulls down his pants and he begins he takes his testicles, like puts them over on top. I start stretching it out and doing puppetry. He goes, I'm going, what in the shit is this? And the whole room explodes with shocked humor.
That's dick tricks.
Like that? Is that dick tricks?
That's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Dick tricks.
Because I knew a puppetry of the penis, which was a thing. There's a team of guys who go around doing like opera performances, like. They were on the Howard Stern show one time. They go, "This one's called the Sailor," or "The Sail."
The sail.
He goes, "You stretch things out to form a sail, and use something as like a mast, and you can use the rest of your imagination to fill in the gaps." So now you know that.
So it sounds like you have a good base to discover how to do these.
Maybe that's my calling. Maybe that's my passion. I don't think my wife would be too happy with me pursuing that passion. Listen, honey, I quit my job and I've discovered this penis puppetry thing. I've got the URL, dicktricks.com.
I think you should definitely.
I got my Instagram ready and my YouTube account.
And your specialty is football teams.
Hello, boys. Motivation.
That's right.
If we had Shayna right there, this would explode into just a complete mess.
Oh my God.
But everybody would love every second of it.
I love Shayna. She's such a little beast. So I saw her, first time I met her was at, I think it was the first year they did the NC sectionals. The CrossFit sectionals. So that was my first year competing. 2010. Yeah, that was my first year. I literally got forced into it. Somebody else paid my entry fee and signed me up because I was not going to, and they did it a week before the competition. So that was my first ever exposure to competing. And I was like, all I want to do is finish all the workouts, finish in the top 50%, and hopefully, let things happen. The first workout was a sandbag carry squat one, and I'm running and I'm waving to all of my people. I'm like, look, hi guys, I'm in a competition. And they were like, go Christmas, go. And I'm like, well, you guys said to have fun. And then come to find out I placed 5th. And then went to and I was even just like playing around a little bit, but she was there and I was like, who's this little girl? She's like my size but smaller and bigger at the same time. And then we both went to regionals, which was in Florida. That was when we were in the dirty South.
Yes.
I'm still a dirty Southerner. And
yeah, I was there.
In 2010?
Yeah.
That was I was like, man, I've made it in competition.
It was cool.
It was really, really rad.
Cool. That was a good section or a good regional to be in.
And I saw her perform, and every year she performs, I'm just in awe of like her strength to size ratio, because I think that it does make a difference. And she just grinds it out, and I just love it. She goes into animal mode, she goes into monster mode, and she's been a big influence on me, just saying, F it, I don't care about being small, I'm gonna be strong as shit and make them keep up with me anyway.
Yeah, she really shines in competition.
Can't argue with how awesome that is.
Yeah.
Jesus, that's a good thing. You know what? Fuck this being small shit. Give me a man's bar and shut the fuck up.
It's fun. So I don't do this anymore because of my injury, but I'm working back to it, is that I would load up the guy's weight. If I would travel to another CrossFit, I would load up. I would try and beat the best guy in the gym.
Use their RX.
Yeah.
Is that the lingo?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did that one time by accident.
I just don't pay attention to shit. Like, okay, yo, I get it. It's a prescription. Yeah.
Prescription. Do you take
put some fucking weight on the bar, dude?
People go crazy about having to have it RX. Like, people will kill themselves for that little
it's
RX symbol. It is a problem.
Yeah.
Scale, people.
Classic,
understand your ability and build.
You gotta go with what's that's right for where you are, not what you want to do.
Yeah,
not
I still scale.
Do you have a trick for you do scale? Huh?
I do. I need to understand if I'm on the borderline of overtraining, if I'm recovering for something. If the workout says 315-pound deadlift, I laugh. And
do you do that?
No, I
like fuck.
Not yet. I'm working towards it.
For you,
it is heavy.
For a lesson, I mean, I scaled in your workout yesterday.
Yeah,
during the warm-up.
Because what? You're traveling, new environment, new coach, new procedure, new method, and everything. You should scale down.
Because I was injured.
That you're broken.
But the thing is like, I could have forced myself into the positions to, let the ego get in the way and then make things worse. But I know better.
You wouldn't be training.
So how do you get? Is there a way to like? Because that's the hardest thing sometimes as a coach, is to get people to like check that ego,
right?
And say, hey, I'm gonna do this safely. Do you have any tricks for convincing people that they should scale, because people are really opposed to it? Yeah,
lead by example. And all of my coaches, so when we program the workout, we want them to hit a certain stimulus. And with that certain stimulus, that's where you're going to get the best return out of your workout. And we tell them, hey, you may be able to do a 135-pound clean, but we're going to sit here for 30 minutes waiting for you to finish, when you should finish in 8 to 12 minutes.
Yeah.
Ideally, 8 to 10 minutes. So, and then, maybe you overestimated what you should be. So scale the weight to, or whatever it is that you need to be able to hit that time domain or that weight domain, whatever it is, depending on what the outcome of what you want it to be. And so people have to understand how to analyze the workout and to be able to analyze themselves, to know where to push it, how to push it, and really get the best return out of it.
I think one thing Louis always said that stuck with me forever is that you got to realize that you got to train optimally, not maximally.
Yeah.
Like they train maximally when that's appropriate, but what's the best thing you could do now? Not the most of the things you could do.
Right.
People think that you're going to get better through the more work you do. That's just a classic trap you fall into. I'm doing this, and this. I thought I'd be improving. It's not happening. What, you're doing way too much, man. It's like medication. Recover from the thing, then the strength comes.
Right.
And you get that from being optimal.
Yeah, especially for more experienced CrossFit athletes, the thing that holds people back from making progress isn't the fact that they won't work hard or they won't sleep or they won't recover. It's the fact that they peak and then they get injured and they take a little time off or they have to back it off a little bit and then they think they're better and then they get injured again and they kind of go through the cycle of like little injuries here and there because they don't scale. I mean, you just had a big back injury.
I'm laughing because this was the last 3 months of my life.
Every competitive athlete is guilty of that.
Oh yeah. Our pride is big when it comes down, especially returning, because you're like, oh yeah, I can do this, and it's light and it's easy, and then you realize that you should have scaled.
You're like, I feel fine.
Yeah,
goes,
the last 2 weeks I've been
shit.
scaling, and it's been awesome, and I feel stronger than ever, and I feel good, and I'm gonna come back to be, once I RX it again, I'm gonna be able to really demolish these workouts.
Can I mimic the voice in your head? I'm like, Christmas, those fucking tires aren't getting any lighter. Put some fucking weight on the bar. Is that what you hear in your voice when you come to the bar?
I hear myself, like I shit talk myself, and so there's a couple of different voices in my head.
Oh, is this schizophrenia?
only during my workouts.
Not hitting on her tonight.
So there's one that's like
NASCAR Christmas is just a different individual. and CrossFit Chris like, NASCAR? People keep talking to me about this fucking NASCAR stuff. What is this? Oh, she's crazy.
No, don't. There's like 3 other Christmases that run
They
around.
always confuse me with my friend.
So there's a voice in your head that says like, you can't do this. You know, it's the one that's like, there's no way you're going to be able to pull this off. You aren't good enough, et cetera, et cetera. And you have to just shut that mofo up.
Yeah.
And the way that you shut them up is you totally lie to yourself and you're like, I'm the baddest bitch in here. I'm going to piss on this bar. I own it. It is mine to take, right? I'm taking this home. I am the baddest one here. I'm going to do this the fastest. I'm going to do this the best. And it may or may not be true. In my case, it's usually not, but it makes me feel good and it shuts that other voice up.
In stark contrast to you, my voice says, if you think about it, it's cream, eggs, and sugar. It's really just kind of like breakfast, not ice cream really so much.
Actually, speaking of nutrition, over the break you started talking about paleo and you were really slamming it. I wouldn't say you called it bullshit, but you had a pretty strong opinion about it. What do you think about paleo overall?
You can still get an insulin spike with just paleo. Like
Blasphemy.
Be still, my heart. Rabble.
It's true. Go and explain yourself.
I kind of, and bless them. I honestly, you come into CrossFit, there's a lot of information. Yeah. And I've been in CrossFit, since I don't even know how many years now, and I'm still learning. Right. And I'm always going to be learning. But understand that there's another option. There's multiple options. And I think food is a drug. So you have... and this is kind of like my 2-second spiel where people are like, what do you do, paleo? I'm like, look, if the doctor prescribes you this amazing medicine and he's like, you're going to feel better, you're going to perform better, you're going to look better, you're going to think better, and you're going to feel better emotionally, yes, you want it, right?
It's called testosterone.
You would pay whatever for that.
I don't think
right?
any of those things are associated with testosterone or too much. Excuse me, too much.
If that came in a pill,
you were like, I don't know.
You got like too much testosterone. There's like rage.
But you're making a good
kinds.
point. If that came in a pill, people would fucking mortgage their house for it.
They're gonna go crazy for it.
Yeah.
So that is food.
If it comes in apple form, like, well, fuck that apple.
Well, think about this. Your prescription. So he says, I have this amazing drug I want to give you, and I'm going to write you a prescription. You go home and you have this bottle full of these amazing pills, and he didn't write down how often you take it or how much you take. So you have no idea. So you're like, do I take 5 now and the whole thing now? You don't know how to balance out your dosage.
I know Chris would take the whole bottle.
Yeah.
Well, if one's good, 5 is fucking 5 times as effective. Right. Are you dumb? Hold your hand through everything.
So look at food as in the dosage and the quality. So paleo is the quality of the drug. Like that's probably the best type of drug you're going to get. That's not the generic brand, but the dosage on how much you take and when you take is zone. And how much you take and when you take is much more influential on your performance and your emotional state being and all of those other things than paleo. So you want to balance your hormonal response throughout the entire day, and you can offset that balance greatly by just eating paleo. But if you do zone and you do it properly, then you're gonna no matter what you eat, you can deviate from paleo. You can have that ice cream, you can have that beer, whatever you want to eat. You just have to eat it in the correct dosage.
So for me, on tomorrow night is Vice Friday. How many blocks is the terminology of beer should I have?
You do. The rule is 5 by 5, so no more than 5 blocks at one time, and no more than 5 hours without eating.
So 5 pints. They're cool. 5 pints. You heard her.
He's gonna be drinking beer and eating chicken.
Yeah, I got lost on the whole.
paleo.
I got lost on the whole zone thing when they started breaking grams into blocks. I go, why don't we just use grams like we've been doing our whole lives?
Right.
Like,
but you
now
have
we're
to
making it
understand.
complicated.
So it's kind of like pounds and kilos. It's like whatever you figure out works for you, then do your own cheat sheet and stick with
I
that.
got it. Yeah.
It's not that hard, people. Like, you cook your food, you put it on your plate. All you have to do is either put it in a measuring cup or put it on a scale in between.
So there's fiddle factor too. Like, here's the recommendation. Let me dial it in so I get the response I want. And
yeah, you can totally tweak it too. So this is kind of cool because this is part of my workshop. Is I'm going to walk you through an entire week of nutrition, like a food plan, and then we're going to talk about WOD analyzation because I really like geeking out on. And this is the stuff that works for me. So this is kind of why I'm so into it, is because it did work really effectively. But I don't remember what you said.
Wait, this workshop? She's not paying attention to you.
No, the only thing I was gonna say about zone is that I tried to do it once. I go, right, okay, let me see here. I tried I was measuring out strawberries or something. I go, the blocks and the units, I got it. And I made the measurements. I go, surely I'm not supposed to be eating 2 fucking bushels of strawberries for breakfast. And like a glass, I'm like, what the fuck, man?
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's gonna make me real fat.
But what's cool?
Well, fatter.
Nobody got fat eating fruit. I'm pretty sure of that. First off, no one's like, oh, I ate too many apples.
I understand.
Look at this.
I understand it's a rare issue, a rare condition, you know. But in my case, I don't need that many blocks of that.
But you do. You just get to choose whether you want it to be paleo and have 10 bushels of strawberries, or if you want 3 pieces of toast.
Ben and Jerry's, baby.
Or, just
toast.
Sourdough.
I miss the bagels and cream cheese. Is what I
sourdough
miss.
toast, cold coffee, and shame for breakfast every morning.
Garlic cheddar sourdough is the best. Some San Luis sourdough. Next time I go back to San Francisco, we're gonna get some of that.
That's another thing. Don't you
Man.
embrace let's get into the shit here. What are your favorite cheats? What's your philosophy when you travel and when you're? Do you take time? Like if you're in San Francisco, and we sit down to where's a good place that sells the stew?
The
sit down,
stew.
that seafood stew, and they give you a big piping hot, crispy,
cioppino?
fresh.
Cioppino,
You
man.
get a bowl of cioppino, and they offer a big, crusty, fresh, loaf
Yeah.
of sourdough bread. You're going for the bread, right? I mean, you're in San Francisco. Do you count that more beneficial than sticking to the diet? Like
I stick to the diet for example, that's why I love Zone so much, is because if I'm ordering stew, especially if it's just a base meat stew, then I still need to get my carbohydrates. So I get to eat that guilt-free, and I still have a pretty good balance.
Just quantify, right?
Yeah. And then I crush a cupcake for dessert.
Hell yeah.
Can I, at the Christmas party tonight,
hence the
can
t-shirt.
we crush some cupcakes?
Yeah.
We're going to do that.
Somebody better bring me a cupcake tonight.
Speaking of
14
cupcakes,
blocks of
what's up with the cupcakes and
I love
kettlebells
this.
on a t-shirt?
So I'm avid on how much I love cupcakes, because one, it's an individual cake just for you, and you do not have to share it. We're like real cakes,
Yeah, no
you have to
expectation.
share. And you're
You
like, well, I don't want to share
I mean,
this.
I've eaten the whole cake like 15 times in my life.
You haven't been to Chris Moore's birthday.
Like, all right.
But
my
if I
cake-
don't share, they're like, God, Christmas is such a little big, So
Yeah.
cupcakes, I can look at you and be like, it's a cupcake. I don't want to share.
So
and then
are we gonna have
kettlebells.
cupcakes at your birthday party tonight?
I hope so. I hope
Not
somebody
her
does.
responsibility, Doug.
Yeah.
Come on.
I wanted. She knew there were gonna be some.
Well,
I
there'll be
brought an
some
outfit.
kind of cake.
She might
I'm
have. She
gonna
might
show
have
up.
demanded cupcakes and knew they were gonna be there.
There's
I want
actually
one.
this really good place in town, Gigi's Cupcakes.
We got one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really want to own a cupcake shop. Not so because I like to bake in my pastime, but it's not always that great. But it's pretty good. But
I know
want
somebody
to
who
own a
owns one of those
cupcake
shops.
shop,
They
and
could probably tell you how to do it.
just so I can have cupcakes whenever I want.
My wife sent me a picture yesterday of her office, and somebody brought in those exact cupcakes, like the holiday editions.
Oh, I love them.
And she goes, it was something like, how, like, the bigger point is, how in the fuck are you supposed to survive this kind of office environment? There's a picture is like 45 fucking dozen cupcakes for like 8 people. They keep getting brought. Like, come on.
They don't eat. They just keep. It's pure sugar all day.
Yeah.
See, my preferred
No
cheat.
real meals
my
required.
preferred, what is your favorite cheat meal? Because I'll tell you what mine is. I'll give you my theory. I've thought long and hard about this. Longer than my career goals or anything. I think to myself, I notice that when I eat cake, I get a huge. You agree with me, CTP? Cake triggers some sort of visceral, unpleasant response in me. I get heavy. I get very sad. Ice cream, never a bad decision. Fucking never a bad decision. And a whole pint minimum of Ben and Jerry's for me, preferably Chubby Hubby. What's your go-to like Christmas? Like you did not nail the lug nuts today. You had a shitty day. You come home to the apartment. What's the soothing meal you're going to go for?
Meal or
cheat?
Well, I consider cheat dessert. Like I'm going to have a good meal and then be able to off balance some of that hormonal
cheat treat
response. If it's just like a real simple one for
At your
the day.
Dirtiest, filthiest moment. What do you go for?
Well, there's two different situations. If I didn't perform well that day, I don't reward myself.
Okay. So you go Scotch.
You're not an emotional. You're not an emotional eater.
Not really.
Okay.
But if it's just like a normal cheat, whatever, then I go for a cookie. If I don't feel like going all the way, it's a chocolate chip cookie. Sometimes too, I can't eat a lot. Like I'll nibble here and there. But if if I'm like I've been really good and on it, and it's time for my cheat meal, then I'll go get
sassy.
a Gigi's cupcake. Yeah.
Not too bad. We can work on that though. We can dial that up. When's your off season? We'll rendezvous for version 2 of the show. We'll blow it out for epic.
I'm on my
cheat
bulk
meal.
cycle right now. Can't you
Well,
tell?
fuck. One cupcake's not gonna do.
Super huge over here.
Yeah.
I'm sold.
I'll trade you some of my weight.
Have
Have
you thought about going from 53 kilos to 58 kilos?
That I naturally can't hold. I can't hold it.
Don't you have a solution to this
Yeah.
problem?
Oh,
She
no.
says she can't gain weight.
She's talking about eating cupcakes. That is the solution.
So before I got injured,
Just eat
I
a
was.
cupcake a day. I bet you'd sneak up there real quick.
And also, my Fran time would be 10 minutes.
I don't know. I'd be willing to bet. I don't know.
I'm
I
trying.
think we should test this.
So during the summer, after regionals, I started, I went back to milk. Love whole milk. Don't give me that non-fat bullshit.
I drink raw goat's milk, so
It's good.
yeah, you don't have to convince me.
good.
I'm all about it. I think the whole milk from the grocery store is disgusting, and watered down compared to like raw milk.
Yeah, raw milk is delicious. It's just like heavy cream.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I decided to consciously just put on weight, and I was doing really well, and I think I had gotten up to like 122.
There's a lot of women out there that hate you right now.
I know.
That's right. What are you weighing right now?
My natural physique is petite anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think right now I'm like right around 118.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it was like solid mass, and I was super excited, and everything, the weights were light, and then I got injured. So I lifted the 53, which is, 116.8 or whatever, which is pretty easy to hit. But naturally, if I were to gain, 8 pounds, it's not gonna happen in a year.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
And it is
I think you
tough
probably have
as
to be
shit.
pretty aggressive about it.
Yeah. And I've been aggressive. I add blocks, and I make sure that you have to add the calories. You have to have the calories.
Yeah.
And so it was awesome, because for the first time in years, I really was just like went off the reservation on what I was eating. And it was awesome. It was awesome. I was like, I'm going to have lasagna today.
Yeah, the big drawback, like anytime I try to gain weight, I just hate it because I don't feel as good.
Yeah.
And then when I return back to like the normal eating, because I'm a smaller guy too, like I have a hard time keeping weight on. But I'm just happier when I'm not trying to eat those calories.
Yeah.
And when I go back,
It's just not a natural
I'm relieved.
place.
I say that all the time. Like
It
people
turns into a chore.
when people are struggling to lose weight, I go, you should try to gain weight, like purposefully. Like I know you've just been spending the last 20 years just kind of living this disheveled lifestyle, and that's one thing. But like to lose weight is tough. If you're like Mike, you need to gain 10 solid pounds.
That's harder than
It's
losing.
the hardest
pounds.
training goal
It
you've
is.
got. It's way harder than any workout you're gonna
And
do.
you're uncomfortable all day because you have to eat even when you don't want to eat. And I love to eat for pleasure.
Yeah.
And it's like,
It kind of sucks the happiness out of your life because you can't just like, I'll eat this third plate of roast beef and mashed potatoes. I'll go for a nice stroll, a nice walk, enjoy the sun. That doesn't happen. You lay in your shame.
Yeah, most people never had the experience of gaining weight and then plateauing while trying to gain weight and then trying to keep going after
the
you've
hardest thing I
plateaued.
can think of, man.
It's a huge pain in the ass. It takes over your whole life. You eat all day long. You don't get any breaks. It costs a ton of money, and it turns
you're
into
miserable.
everything you do.
You're really
all you do is eat
miserable.
all day.
yeah.
What was the workshop you mentioned a minute ago?
I'm doing a Christmas Abbott workshop where it's a one-day workshop. I'm going to be hosted by CrossFit affiliates. The first part of the year is going to be domestic, so all U.S., and then the second part of the year is going to be international. And really, it's just just gonna go through like my backstory of not, going from an F up to somebody that has, had a really good run with athletics, and understanding how to make goals. But ultimately, it's gonna have a big section on food and understanding what it does for your body and your training, and it's for competitive CrossFitters, body modifiers, or maintainers, so people that want to gain, lose, or maintain. And we're going to do an entire week of a food meal plan. And from there, and you can tweak it, I'll explain how to tweak it in the workshop. And then afterwards, we're going to do a workout, and then we'll go into a WOD analyzation. So understanding what workout it is, what stimulus you want to hit, and if you're doing 2 a days, 3 a days, competitive training versus maintaining.
Sounds very pragmatic and useful, actually.
Understanding what it does to your body and how to recover, and really just get the best out of training without having to overtrain or undertrain. Because we all overtrain. And if I program for myself, like we were talking about earlier, I start shit talking myself in my head. I'm like, 3 rounds. 3 rounds is nothing. And then I'll convince myself that I need to do 2 more, which is I did this earlier today. I need to do 2 more rounds, and that might be sufficient. And so if I don't have somebody there saying, Christmas, stop, this is what we told you to do, this is what you're supposed to be doing, then I'll drive myself into the ground.
That's why even great athletes need good coaches.
Yeah, most people don't tend to overtrain when they're training, but for some reason, endurance athletes and CrossFitters will do it. It's like you get outside of those 2 groups and nobody's overtraining. It's not an issue. But you get that triathlete or a CrossFitter, really, and now all of a sudden it's happening.
Unless you're really high level, like weightlifter, you might be pushing it really hard. But only certain times a year, though. You're not doing it all the time without break, and you're not feeling
the weight's going to limit you.
You're not feeling depressed by resting. That's not what the problem in weightlifting is. Like usually you hit it hard for an hour or whatever, or 2 hours, however long you get your train. Then the rest of the time, you're not even like walking or doing anything. You're
eating on the couch.
I think it's more apparent to a weightlifter when they're overtraining, or a powerlifter when they're overtraining. It's more apparent sooner than it is for a CrossFitter or an endurance athlete.
As soon as your snatch feels dull, to put it lightly, then you're gonna go.
Well, there's major signs in a CrossFitter that you're overtraining, and they tend to ignore it and allow it to, and it's not something super radiant that is like, oh my gosh, it's a red light that you're flashing, but it's pretty obvious if you know what the signs are. And
what are the signs for you?
Fatigue, in the sense of I love sleep, and I'll get 8 hours most of the time. I'll get 6 to 8 hours probably on a regular basis. And I'll wake up, and during my workout, even after the second or third round, I'll feel like I'm still lifting through mud. That's just a major one for me. That's when I know that there's a red flag and I need to kind of just go home. And people think that taking a day off is just mobilizing or stretching or going to work or doing a hike. Sometimes at that point you have to take a couple of days off for your body to reset. Hydration is huge. Proper supplements, and not just taking any old shitty supplement, understanding what it does to your body and when to take it and when it's optimum.
What do you take right now?
For what?
What supplements are you taking today?
I have a
and
pretty,
why?
So I wake up and I take my fish oil. Obviously, I take the Luron Living, which is the deer antler stuff. It's really boosted my energy. It's really neat. I feel good on it.
Somebody asked us about that the other day.
I haven't tried it. I hear people talk about it all the time, but I've never tried it.
I take something else for my cardio, like what is it, CQ10?
Coenzyme Q10.
Yeah, I can't pronounce a lot of this stuff, and I'm like, okay, let me take it. The
voice in your head says, "Shut the fuck up and take that pill."
I take I drink amino acids throughout the day, and then my post-workout protein shake, which I take immediately before I even cool down. And
just protein or anything else?
I mix it with coconut water.
Oh, okay.
And I have the protein and the carbohydrate. And yesterday I didn't have coconut water, so I ate a cookie. Yeah, my body's gonna burn it. That quickly after a workout, it's like I don't even care.
And if you did do that, those extra 2 rounds, the cookie is not a big deal,
Yeah, I think I did do.
In fact, you probably could eat like 5 or 6 or 7.
Probably be a benefit to recovery.
That's my prescription to you, Christmas. Eat more cookies.
And then let's see.
More cookies, less cookies.
Oh!
I take a ZMA at night. Yeah, it gives me crazy dreams, like waking up with people in my bed.
Like this guy?
Like the intro.
Oh, man. I've never had the kooky dreams, though. I wish I did.
I have. Yeah,
I don't have them either.
ZMA has definitely put me in a better dream state.
Just very fortunate to hear that.
So
I'm glad you're well rested.
Have you scheduled any of those workshops?
No, I just launched my website, and because I was redoing my website and to be able to have the workshop, and so people can register and well.
And it crashed like the first day from too much traffic, right?
It did crash. It crashed the first day and the second day, and he's like, "Just don't post it on Facebook." And I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah, the bro.
Yeah,
Just don't tell anyone about it. Keep it a secret.
You're a victim of a bro avalanche.
You know, what's funny is most of my followers are women.
Oh, yeah?
Yay!
Would not
yeah.
have fucking guessed it, but hey, I love the
Not us.
No,
So you popped up on my radar originally because of your pistol tattoo.
Okay.
that picture.
Not what I was expecting.
That one
but cool.
picture you was a pretty cool one. That was like the yellow.
I probably saw you before that, but that's when I noticed years
That was
ago.
I have to say that's a great picture. That was really good lighting.
Yeah,
And then
it's
my
cool.
photographer, who so I lured him into CrossFit, and he came in. He was like, he did BMX extreme photography.
Oh, really?
And he was like, I want to kind of get into something else. I'm interested in CrossFit. So we were like, yeah, come take some pictures. So he comes in.
move.
He's pretty cool, and he's gotten some gigs for some photography, but it's nice because we were just like hanging out in my gym, and I had my pistol there, and this guy came in to fix the toilets, and I was like, kind of awkward, just hanging out here half
like-
naked with my 45.
Where's the bathroom?
Well, excuse me.
Sorry, tangent.
What inspired that tattoo?
So when I went over to Iraq, I didn't know how to shoot guns. I had shotguns kind of when I was a little child. With like my dad would give me the shotgun and kind of laugh when it blew me over.
Hold this shotgun, little girl.
Yeah,
Oh,
hold it
good shot.
tighter.
Yeah.
But I didn't know how to shoot before I went overseas, and to be honest, I was actually pretty much anti-gun because I didn't understand them. I didn't know how to do them. I was like, they are terrible. Went
Didn't know
overseas,
how to turn them off if you needed to turn one off.
had
Yeah.
no clue. Didn't do any
Where's the off
homework.
button?
Where's it plug in?
No education at all. So I went overseas, and I realized, I was like, holy crap, if something goes down, I need to grab one of these guys' guns and be able to use it. And not
very-
just
a
like,
very
Sure,
real sense,
they would really
yeah.
appreciate
look
that.
scary.
Oh, where's my pistol? There's Christmas. Just shooting shit.
Ah! Boom, 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 like fucking Bruce Willis.
So when I came home, I went to a different employer, which I had to actually qualify on the Glock. And so I decided to learn. I learned how to shoot, and I fell in love as soon as they put it in my hand and let me fire it. I went through an extensive training session before where I had to understand the safety. Nothing was ever loaded. I had to be able to load it, unload it, carry it around properly.
That's the
trigger
answer.
finger.
That's the answer to the gun problem, right?
You had to-
Education solves that problem, doesn't it?
Understanding what it does and how to handle a gun, and if you're not familiar with that weapon, don't pick it up. Don't put yourself in a situation where you're like, oh, I accidentally shot my toe off because I didn't know didn't have a safety on there.
Well, shit.
Yeah. So do you have a gun now?
I do. Yeah, it's that gun in that picture is mine.
So do you have was it a Glock?
No, it's a Kimber 45.
Okay.
Yeah. 1911.
Kimber 45.
Yeah.
That's a lot of ammunition.
So it's so funny because people are like, why do you have such a big gun? I'm like, well, if somebody comes in my house, I'm not going to piss them off with a 9. I'm going to stop them and...
I don't know what the numbers mean. I assume that's a big gun she has.
Yes.
Was it
Yes.
for what?
Yeah.
It's got a little more stopping power.
It's
Doug,
a
did you know
45 caliber. So the bullet is like half the size of a dime.
Oh, that seems.
You want to see one? A bullet, not my gun. I'm not pulling my gun out.
No, I trust you. I trust it's a very accomplished,
yeah, let me go grab
capable
one.
weapon.
Follow her.
Yeah, go follow her, man. So what's happening now?
We'll
CP is
keep
following.
entertaining people.
Chris-
if
Chris
you're only
Madden-
listening, this is not good for you.
Well, she's come back with a gun
Damn.
case. Or some, or
That's an
just
ammo
just
Full
case.
ammo can and everything.
Look at that. That's very rusty.
45.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, that thing traveling at you. Well, I know a 9mm travels 1,300 feet per second. How fast does one of those travel? I don't remember.
I don't know how fast that travels. Travels fast enough to stop them.
So one of those traveling about that speed will hurt. Yeah.
Could be fatal.
Could be.
I'm probably going to get ragged on for the case of my bullets, but
Why?
yeah.
Yeah, but some people, the
It's
other
an
half of
ammo
people are going
can.
to think it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's an ammo
Oh,
can.
that's cool.
I jammed
You jammed it? That means you weren't holding it tight enough.
Whatever.
Today you
They're
learned
very
something.
sensitive guns. So yeah, I fell in love with it, and when I went overseas, I knew how to shoot. Got to shoot a lot of different guns. Got to shoot a saw, all kinds of really rad stuff.
Very cool.
Yeah. Really cool. And oh man, I have it wrapped up. Shit. Okay, I'll explain that in a second. So when I came back home, like Iraq really just kind of made me aware of my situation, or situational awareness, and I wanted to always make sure that I was protecting myself. So the gun, I love to shoot, and ultimately, you always have to protect yourself and just be aware of your surroundings, and it's just a protection thing for me.
That's what the tattoo serves as a reminder of that, right?
Yeah.
To be aware, to protect, to stand for yourself.
Yeah, and it's cool because something I really seems to be kind of a continuing story in my life of what I didn't think that I was going to enjoy or was against even, I ended up loving because I just was exposed to it, and I took time to learn about it and educated myself.
Yeah, I find many people who are anti-gun, once they fire one, all sorts of shit changes.
It's like Farfanugan.
I've introduced 3 different people to guns that were not big fans of them, and then one afternoon of shooting, and they're like, oh, let's learn more about this. Yeah, it's fun.
Take a safety course, know how to handle the weapon before you get the weapon, and make sure you have all your license. As a civilian and law-abiding, and I pay my taxes on time, it's nice to be able to be rewarded by being able to protect myself. Yeah. And
taking a class is not scary. Maybe some people might be intimidated by that, but if you go to a gun range, they're not going to expect that you know anything. They're going to be really good with you.
Yeah, and they're not going to give you bullets.
No.
They give you I had the little, what are the neon orange ones forever until
I'm not
I could show. Yeah, it's like just a fake bullet. So you can put it in the chamber and shoot it, but it doesn't actually like shoot. It's just like a pellet for the gun, so you can practice loading it and unloading it. Yeah.
Awesome.
So what's funny is Josh and I, my boyfriend and I, went shooting at the range when I lived in Charlotte, and he didn't know, like, he came in and I hadn't shot my gun in a while. So I told him, I was like, I haven't shot my gun in a while. I might be a little rusty. And he took it as in, I haven't shot my gun in a while. I don't remember what to do. So he was really sweet when we went into the shooting range, and he was like, so, make sure that you hold it both hands, hold it here. And he's like showing me all this stuff. I'm letting him run with it. I'm like, okay, thanks, honey. And we shot a few, and I always kind of like to warm up a little bit, and I always perform better under pressure. And so I shot a few times, and then I was like, well, let's time ourselves. Because he had his 9 and I had my 45, and I was like, hey, you have to unload it, show, face up, unload it, show it face up, and then you get, X amount of shots per whatever. And so I was like, well, let me go first, just because whatever. And we went, shot it, and him and my tattoo artist are standing behind me. and he says, 3, 2, 1, go. I shoot all of it, put it down, and I look back to him. I'm like, done. Am I in time? And him and my tattoo artist are like mouths open, eyes wide open, standing there staring at me. So I'm like, oh shit, I've done something unsafe. I look back at my table. I'm like, no, the clips are out, the guns are up. You can see that the barrels are empty. I was like, and I looked back and I was like, what did I do wrong? And they were just kind of like, where'd that come from? And I'm like, what? I was like, I don't understand. What's going on? Tell me what's going on. And then I was like, am I within time? And they were like, we didn't know you could shoot like that. And I looked at them kind of like, really? And I looked back and I was like, you guys, I have a tattoo on my hip. I own my own gun. I was like, I have to be able to have some kind of proficiency to be able to, pull this off properly.
They're like, don't fuck with me.
So,
well, it's the inner boy in every man who goes, look at this girl, she's gonna try to shoot a gun. Watch this. Oh shit. Wait a minute. That was a stunt. Like, fuck, you shut the little boy up for good.
So Josh went and shot his, and we pulled the
yeah. Cross-reference.
I got him framed. If they weren't wrapped now, I'd let you guess whose is who, but I think you know.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
We're picking up what you're putting down.
Your grouping.
My grouping was much tighter and together. He definitely killed the guy, you know.
Well, there you go. That's a good thing.
You did good, honey.
No, he actually just recently exposed me to clay pigeon shooting.
Oh yeah,
That seems
I'm actually,
fun as
I'm
shit,
actually
huh?
taking my brothers. That's what I'm giving my brothers for Christmas. Is I'm taking them out for clay pigeons.
Your brothers
for a
are
day. Yeah.
going to be so grateful.
Yeah.
I had so much fun. I didn't know that I
It's a
could shoot
blast.
things in action.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Like
You're
we went
on
over to
like
some.
one of the little golf courses where you go to like different holes. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, they have well, there's
Whatever they're called.
skeet shooting and there's clay pigeon. It's a difference.
It's
It's like skeet
talking about
shooting is
skeet.
super like a lot harder than clay pigeon.
Okay.
I think so. But we were just
I
at a
don't-
friend's
I don't-
house in
I
their
don't
front
know the
yard.
subtle difference there.
There's trap and skeet, and the
Okay.
trap I think trap is where it goes along the ground almost.
Oh yeah.
There's a few different variations there, but I'm not sure what's more difficult.
Yeah.
I've only thrown them out in the air and shot them.
Yeah.
I've never done anything for sport, so I can't really comment.
Yeah, mine wasn't for sport. We were at our friends that live outside the city a little bit, and we were literally in their front yard.
Yeah, we've always just been idiots throwing them out there and shooting them. You know,
Hey guys, watch this.
more redneck skeet shooting. You know,
Yeah,
Sounds like it'd
that's-
be a really awesome drinking game.
well,
Skeet shooting.
I once mixed skeets and alcohol, and then I regretted it for.
skeet.
You don't want to meet.
I think you probably did that more than once.
No, you creep. I meant shoot clay pigeons.
Christmas
wrong
is
with you?
embarrassing me so much on this show.
Grow up,
I really-
Christmas.
So immature. Come on now.
Hold it together.
All right, let's wrap this up. I think we could go on for a while, but I think we're going to have to end this because you've got to get ready.
Yeah, I have a birthday dinner to go
You
to.
probably have a fierce dress to put on.
I do. Did you see it hanging in the bedroom?
No.
It's a beaded dress. Yeah. So birthdays for me are a big deal. I'm excited about this.
Is it okay if we show up to your party wearing this?
Yeah.
Because we
Yeah.
packed
This is all we
light.
brought.
We didn't really prepare.
Yeah, the guys, t-shirts and jeans, cool. Girls, we all wore
So
sparkles.
CTP was our liaison, and he failed to tell us that there was a major birthday party going on. Otherwise, I would have dressed to the nines.
Yeah. I coordinated it because I wanted, like I was telling you guys earlier, Josh was so bummed that he missed the American Open because of the weather. And he was just so excited to meet you guys. And he knew you guys were coming here today. So I didn't tell him that you guys were staying to hang out with them at my birthday party.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah, he's really, really excited about this.
He's in for a treat.
Now, Chris, now that you've told this to Chris, he's going to go over the top and being entertaining. So this is what he
come
tends
on.
to do. So
I'm just myself,
He'll
man.
drink extra. It'll be good. No, it'll be a good
Well, if
thing.
you want me to embarrass myself, I guess I will. If this was a show, I do that every week anyway. This is the second time I've taken my shirt off. Like somebody should not have been taking my shirt off next to it.
Your performance was great.
Thank you. I do appreciate that. It means a lot.
All right. Any last things you want to promote? Twitter handles, Facebooks,
I'm pretty easy to stalk.
websites. Yeah, just
You did a
Christmas
great, you did
Abbott.
a great job on Instagram. By the
Google
way.
your name and you'll probably.
It's one thing just to post pictures of yourself in a bathtub with a bar sub covering your vagina. It's another thing to offer real fitness tips, Christmas. So thank you for that. Sorry, was that-
Somebody asked
you
me one time.
blush, I think, sorry.
I know.
Good job.
Somebody asked me one time. They were like, "So how do you figure out what you want to post?" I'm like, "I just post shit that happens in my life every day."
What was it? We were at the American Open, and was it dude's daughter, and she was like 12 years old, and talking about how you're a role model, and you're like, sorry about
That's
the Instagram.
That was the day after. Instagram was that night, and
That's another thing.
the next
though, 'cause
day I
this
met her.
precious little girl is
Such
blown
a
away
cool
by
girl.
this kind of stuff. I mean, you can be an awesome role model. I mean,
Well, the real question is, how's the soap?
So it smelled so good. Yeah. And you know what? To be honest,
That's the important part.
the soap smelled nice. But I also, the next day I did well in my lifts. So I obviously didn't PR because
There's
I
a
was.
correlation there,
I
is what you
didn't-
might be saying.
There was no way I was going to PR with my history of performance there, but it's okay. It was good.
All right.
Get this dial shit out of my bathroom. There's my PR snatch soap.
But that's one of the coolest things about what I'm able to do is that there are either their parents email me or I'll get, if they're of age, then they'll email me, or when I meet them, these rad girls that, because her name was Alex, right?
Yes.
And she had just demolished all records in the American
she now
Open.
holds like all the American records for her age group and weight class.
I'm like starstruck when I'm meeting this girl, and
she was
I'm
awesome.
like,
Well, I think more girls need to see people like you who can show them, like, yeah, I know you feel like there's these set paths because society is a real fucking bitch towards women sometimes.
Yeah.
They try to shove you in a direction and tell you what you are really not really supposed to go after.
Yeah.
And just like you were feeling that, and then you slowly discovered otherwise, you can just take all that experience and just give people a shot of or a boost right when they need it at that early stage when you could have used that.
yeah. I think that's such an amazing age, and I really want to do more work with that age group because it's such an influential age where you can really start messing up and kind of being embarrassed on trying out in case you fail. And there's just so many things. There's so many moving variables with specifically girls at that age. They're just really sensitive. And for that girl, she was 13. 12,
yeah.
And smashing records. I'm like, can I have your autograph? And like,
Yeah,
I was like,
it's awesome.
Yeah.
I told her dad, I was like, can I get a picture with her?
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, it changed that girl's life. And she's going to go off and
she was
be-
also supposed to be taking the SAT that morning.
Yeah,
at
the
12.
next morning she was taking the SATs.
So she's also really smart.
Yeah, I was like, what? When I was 12, I didn't even know what the SAT was.
I would tell her, I gotta be honest with you, I would flunk the shit out of this test. I still would.
Yeah, good thing I took it a decade ago. Well, I'm old. 15.
I don't think even think I took the
Much more than
SATs.
that,
I took
old man.
15 years
PSATs.
ago, yeah.
Terrible.
All right, we're going to wrap this show up. Thanks for joining us. Had a great time.
Thanks for coming, guys. I love that you guys are in my
and
neighborhood.
Everybody, we want to say Merry Christmas to our fans.
Merry Christmas, guys. Love y'all.
Oh, yeah. Cheers.